Hello and welcome to the Rebel Ballerina Show. I'm Lisa Loree, your host, the Rebel Ballerina. And I was just having a great conversation with a friend of mine who she has had a struggle with pain in her knee and then even had a strange lump on the back of her calf, kind of just below her knee. She's actually one of my bar students. And it was really interesting because we've done all kinds of exercises and things, and nothing was helping it. And then she had another friend who is a nurse say, "Oh, why don't you take magnesium? You might be deficient." And so she did, and voila, that lump disappeared. No more pain in the knee. Everything's just taken care of. As simple as that. So we were working on it from the external standpoint, and then now she's dealing with it from the internal standpoint. And it was just fascinating because we just were talking about it recently, and she said something very, I think, common. A lot of people probably feel this way, where there's this. She said, I don't like to take supplements." And I've been supplementing for quite a while. I learned about really supplementing when my son was diagnosed with autism. And that's a whole nother story. And was able to mitigate a lot of his behaviors and things like that because of the supplementation and bringing things back to balance in his gut. So, like the candida was off the chart when he was tested, and they were like, "I've never seen numbers like this before." So through some supplementation, we were able to bring that down and watch the behaviors change in the process, and it was fascinating. So I started going, this is interesting. And it was at that time that I learned about the farming and how what we eat no longer contains the nutrition that people talk about. And this was a good 20 years ago that I began to understand and research this a little bit myself and get into this awareness of supplementation. And it was fascinating to me because with the introduction of industrial farming, now granted, I grew up on a vineyard in Fresno, California. So Central California, agriland. I mean, we feed the world from there. And so it's like, okay, I understand some of what they're talking about. I mean, granted, I was just a kid and I was 17 when I left. So it's not like I was a farmer and literally was doing the thing, although I did help once in a while. That's another fun story. Rolling raisins in the rain. Yeah, great. Anyway, I sure did play in that dirt, though, I can tell you that. That's a great place for kids to be, playing in the dirt. So, anyway, but it was fascinating finding out about what's happened with the industrial farming practices and largely displacing many family farms. And what that's doing, there's just this whole spiral effect going on, and people need to know about it. So I started understanding supplementation back 20 years ago or so, and I started supplementing starting then. And even then they were saying how the nutrition's not in the soil. So if the nutrition's not in the soil, it can't be in the plant. It can't be in the vegetable. It can't be in the leaves of like the lettuce leaves. It can't be in the fruit because it's not even in the soil. So it's not going to just magically appear just because, there's an apple. It's not going to magically have the nutrients just because it's an apple. It comes way before that process. So, in other words, I learned 20 years ago that in order to get the actual amount of nutrients that we had in, say, an apple from 75 years ago, you would have to eat 5 apples in order to get what you would get out of just one. So in other words, you would have to eat so much food. You would have to eat grocery bags of food, of fruits and vegetables at every meal in order to achieve the amount of nutrition that used to be in the food that we ate. So back then, because we were getting nutrition from our food, there was no need for supplementation. Now, there's a huge need. There's a huge need. And my friend discovered it on her own through her own experience and was marveling at how, because she was like, yeah, I don't want to take supplements and I don't know if I believe in that stuff. And, a lot of people think it's like fish oil, or not fish oil. Fish oil is another supplement, snake oil. We don't supplement with that, but that's what it's called. But obviously you need to know that you're getting a good product if you're going to supplement. And I do take good products, so you do have to be aware of that. But the fact is the nutrition's not there. And most people, Americans at least, I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but so many here are very deficient in incredibly important things like magnesium. So because my friend took the magnesium, instantly, like the next day, she had improvement. And she was like, whoa. And we talked about it a little bit. I'm like, well, yeah, and magnesium has a ton of huge benefits. Less stress, it helps to ameliorate stress, and it has so many functions to it, and it allows other functions. She was just telling me about a plant that she had that the leaves weren't quite right, and she checked into it, and they were saying, oh yeah, the plant's not absorbing the soil. So it's not the soil. So don't put more fertilizer on it because it's not absorbing what's already there. So what it needs is Epsom salts. Well, that's magnesium. So she was like further kind of blown away. Now she's been taking that magnesium for a few months. Not an issue. All of the stuff that she was dealing with went away. And she just said to me that she, a couple days ago, forgot to take it. And then the next day, there was pain. And she's like, why am I? Oh, yeah, I forgot to take my magnesium last night. And then took it, no pain. And that's just somebody's experience. The only thing that she had done differently. And believe me, we had tried. We were doing massage, we were doing rolling it and all of this stuff when it came to the lump part. And it just wasn't going away. And very uncomfortable for her. So to have that taken care of by magnesium, and then our discussions about, yeah, there's not the nutrition in the soil. So you have to supplement right now, because it's just not there. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm getting all this good nutrition, but you might not be. And you have to be aware too, in the organic side, there still might not be nutrition in the soil. They may not spray stuff on them, on the plants, but that doesn't mean that the soil is being attended to correctly. So you have to be really careful. But I always kind of laugh these days when I hear, a certified dietitian recommending this array of fruits and vegetables for your nutritional blah blah blah. I'm like, are they advising their clients that they're going to have to eat 5 grocery bags full of this in order to achieve the nutrition they're talking about? Because it's not there. So along that line, Jimmy and I had just recently watched 3 documentaries, and absolutely fascinating, about the soil. Now, I've just discussed about the nutrition part, and I mean, I think that kind of makes sense. It's common sense. If the nutrition's not in the soil, if the vitamins and the minerals are no longer in the soil, how on earth can they possibly be in the plants and the fruits and vegetables coming from them? But there was another aspect that I had not even contemplated before, and that is CO2. And here there's this clamoring, oh, CO2 and global warming and blah, blah, blah. Well, the industrial farming practices are a huge reason for that exact problem. I was like, whoa, wait a second. So again, it's like one of those, we're going to create a problem and then cry about the problem and then say we have the solution and offer more bad stuff as a solution, which is basically what has happened. But there's a growing movement, thankfully, it's growing for regenerative farming. And I was blown away watching these videos, and it just makes so much sense. So I'm going to share with you just the titles of these, or you can see um, there were three of them that we watched, and they're fascinating. So here we have Common Ground, and there are a lot of commonalities in these three different videos that we watched, but there were some differences as well. So I highly recommend watching all three. And they're Woody Harrelson's in them, Laura Dern's in one of them. So it's like, it's not just, your average everyday person talking. These are actors that are lending their voice and their effort to this movement, if you will, to help take our farms back and make them regenerative. What happens in the industrial process is that the ecosystems that lie just beneath the surface of the soil get destroyed. And then the soil cannot function the way it's supposed to. It's those ecosystems that produce the vitamins and minerals. I'm paraphrasing and summarizing. So hopefully I'm accurate because it was a little bit ago that we watched these, but I was just having this conversation with my friend and it made me think of these things. So I wanted to share them with you. Take a moment and have a chance to watch some of these videos because it's really, really fascinating what's going on, and see how maybe you can become involved in it as well. And at least sharing it with your friends too, so that there's more awareness going on. But if we're going to talk about things like global warming, regenerative farming fixes that. It just fixes it. It takes away the problems. And it's not fossil fuels. It's the fact that our soils have been destroyed, those ecosystems have been destroyed, and they're not absorbing the CO2 as the earth has historically. And so that's a huge, there's a huge big problem about global warming. And again, I think a lot of it's been manufactured personally, but when you watch these, it's interesting because this is a super great solution. Really, it's just returning the practices that have worked for millennia and bringing together lots of different things, such as instead of putting chemical weed killers that are absolutely toxic to us, instead of putting those out on the plants, because everything gets sprayed with them, not just the weeds, these regenerative farms use animals. They come in with herds of cattle, or their sheep, goats, other animals that can be used to eat up the stuff on the ground. And then they're walking around, and so they're doing not a tilling like what the industrial practices churns up the soil and breaks that ecosystem, but the farm animals walking on that land helps to move things around gently so it's not stagnant. And then of course they are fertilizing it because they're out there eating and pooping. And you're getting much more diverse because they have different animals coming through, not just one. So because of that, you're getting a nice array of the different fertilizing going on, and the nutrients are beginning to show up in the food again. And it's definitely helping with the CO2 problem. It is making it so that the soil isn't just bare and deserty, because that's what's happened. It's creating deserts, but instead it's bringing plant life and keeping plant life. There's a place on one of these videos, a place in Mexico that actually had become a desert. And watching the change from what it used to look like, which was just dirt, and after a while, nothing can even grow there. And that's what's so silly about it. It's like you're just going so in the wrong direction. And now there's all kinds of plants and grasses and things growing there. It's fascinating. So really the earth can heal itself. We just have to not misuse it so much with things like this, and allow for the processes that are already there naturally, like these ecosystems. That was fascinating to find out about. These very intricate ecosystems just inches down underneath the ground, and how much they contribute to our vitamins and minerals and what we need as humans to eat the food. And that's how it was created. That's how it was always meant to be. So take a look at these. It's really interesting, very interesting to see uh, this information. Some of it you may have already known. Some of it might be new to you, just like I was like fascinated by the whole CO2 issue. I had no idea that really, if we just fix our farmland and take it out of the industrial farming practices and into regenerative practices, how much more could be done to fix the CO2 problem. So, yeah, it just is amazing. And then they've been all over the world with these, talking to different cultures and places, countries, and very interesting how the the practices from around the world have always been one to work with nature until the industrial practices came along. And then we got into problems. And I don't think there's been another time in history. I could be very wrong about that, but I don't think there's been another time in history that we've made this mistake. Maybe. Maybe it was corrected well enough. But yeah, take a look at these. It's extremely important. It's good for you to know for your own self, because this is what's actually going on, and so you need to be aware. I don't like being in the dark, and I don't like being lied to, and so it's good to get some other perspectives and another awareness. And the other thing, though, is the reason I'm bringing it up is because you really do need to supplement at this time, because so many people are very deficient in a lot of nutrients, and our bodies can't produce things like our bodies can't produce magnesium. We have to take that in from an outside source. Vitamin D is another one that's really high on the list of deficiency. And we are supposed to absorb enough, or, our bodies are supposed to be able to take the absorbed sunlight and convert that into vitamin D. But there's a big problem with that process too, largely. And some of it has to do with sunscreen. Like if you just slather on sunscreen all the time, you're not absorbing enough sun. So you want to be careful of that too. Plus, most sunscreens have a ton of chemicals in them. So again, it's like, oh my gosh. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. So take your pick, but vitamin D is a very easy fix if you take a supplement. Then you're unleashing the benefits of that vitamin, And it's huge. There were a lot of studies, even during COVID, showing that people who had a better level of vitamin D fared better. Those with low vitamin D were hit really hard. And that's really interesting. So I wonder how many other things are out there if you want to stay away from like the flu. I'm not saying that you're going to keep yourself from it completely, but why not increase the uh, protection against that? Why not reduce the risk and help your immune system with something as simple as a vitamin D supplement? You're going to have to take a lot. At first, when I started supplementing with vitamin D, I was taking, I want to say 10,000, maybe 5,000 IU. What the recommended is ridiculously low. That's part of the other problem, is that what our FDA recommended amounts are tiny compared to what the bodies actually need. So that's another facet that is kind of questionable, where these standards came from and what the reality actually is. Now, my physician, and she is fantastic, and she's a functional practitioner. She got off the grid. I've interviewed her here on this show, and I hope you will take a moment to find that, because she has a ton of awesome information too. Her name's Dr. Blancett, and she tests me for my vitamin D levels in my blood. So it's nice that you can actually see whether you or not you have a deficiency. And she actually had to, she's like, okay, okay, we need to back off now. Because I finally got to a range where I was like topping out of the level that I should have. And so I backed off a bit. I still take it, just not as huge an amount anymore. And oh, yeah, here we go. We have some of these other cultures and things. It's very interesting just around the world, the different practices, farming practices and things, and how we can do so much through this kind of regenerative farming to bring not just better health to our soils, and not just help with the CO2 problem, maybe even just fix it flat out, but also to be able to bring better farming to different parts of the world so they can feed themselves better. I mean, that's a huge thing right there, too. So I'm going to wrap this up, but please take a look at these videos. I think you'll find them fascinating. I know I did, and it does relate to us, because it would be nice not to have to supplement. It really would. It can cost a lot. I'm not going to lie. It does cost something to supplement, and it's sad because that's something we should be getting from our food that we're already paying for. So we're paying twice for better health in that regard. And so if more and more farmers were going into this regenerative practice, then we would actually have the nutrition we need in our foods. So take a look. You saw 3 that I've seen, and then there are plenty of others that have been produced and aired in different places. So take a look, and I'd love to get your feedback. Let me know what you think about these. And then I also want to remind you of Soirée en Blanc coming up. I'm so excited. Now we're in July. We are officially in July. This is coming up on the 17th in Beverly Hills, and it is a really remarkable event. I can't wait. I'm going to have my moment where I get to dance and speak my story for a little bit. So super excited, and really hope you will come and take part in this event. It's from 2:30 to 8:30. Lots of different action going on there, vendors, booths, photo ops, speaking panels, all kinds of speakers, a celebrity panel, and a fashion show too. So super fun. And there's my promo code if you want to purchase a ticket. There's the information right there, and then use that promo code, all caps L Loree, L-O-R-E-E 10, is the promo code to use. Or if you want to have complimentary admission, you let me know because I can put you on my guest list. That would be fun. And then you would have free admission. So let me know because I am super excited. I cannot wait. Well, I can. I'm a little trepidatious still. It's been a while. And I've never done this before where I've combined dancing and then speaking as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've been working really hard, getting it together, getting my body together. And so I hope to see you there. Give me a holler and I'll let you know more information about it. And again, I'll share that guest list with you if you would like. And then in the meantime, yes, check out these different videos and others that are out there talking about regenerative farming. See what you think. And then, you've gotten a little new education. That's always a good thing. So have an awesome day. And I really hope that you will think about taking care of your own body, your entity, because it's, the only one you've got. So have a great day, and I will see you next time right here on the Rebel Ballerina Show.